Drivers, start your engines!
It's MRN Motorsports Monday, the place for the latest news and loudest opinions, direct from the guys at the track. Presented by Outback Steakhouse. The stories, views, and opinions expressed on MRN Motorsports Monday are not likely shared by anyone, anywhere. Results may vary, so you should talk to your doctor before watching.
What's up, Doc?
Today's episode is brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Pace car is on.
Here's Woody Cain.
Oh, boy, am I glad to see you guys!
I knew you'd come back, Woody.
And Joey Meier.
Just a reminder, if you're asking me a question on the radio, just keep talking till I answer it for you, all right?
That's what we're going to do. Keep talking till he answers. Welcome to MRN Motorsports Monday, back in our TV studio here at World Headquarters for the Motor Racing Network as we review what happened at the Michigan International Speedway and Gateway over the weekend where the trucks raced. It was a good event there as well. But yesterday, we've seen something we've seen a lot this year, Kyle Larson being fast.
Welcome to the Father's Day edition of Motorsports Monday.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day to you and everybody out to our audience. Michigan International Speedway, again, proved to take really fast race cars, and as long as you didn't mess it up, you were allowed to stay out in front. We saw both Kyles, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. essentially stay out front of the field and battle it amongst themselves. Then we get to the very end of the race, and poof, Chase Elliott's right there, and some other guys get mixed in on some restarts. But at the end, Kyle Larson, who was pretty good there last year, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was.
Was able to dominate again on those couple last restarts and pull out another victory.
And he spoke with our Winston Kelly from Victory Lane after winning again at Michigan.
You had told us several times this year you had to work on the restarts.
Yeah, thankfully Michigan's got some decent grip where you don't spin your tires too bad, but we were able to just have good pushers kind of every restart there and suck down on their door into one and get them loose underneath me. So I was a little bit nervous, but I think I thought with the people behind me I'd be okay. So Car C Chevy was good all day. I thought we were probably a third to fifth place car. The 78 and 18 were definitely better than I was, but we kept working on it, had good restarts there when it mattered.
You were the only guy all day long that I remember that restarted second that was able to come out of turn number 2 with the lead. How did you do that?
I just had a hell of a push from Ryan Blaney behind me. I can't thank him enough for shoving me like that. It was cool to see him get his win last week, and then he helped me a ton today, get this win. So he stayed committed to me all the way down the front stretch and got me past the 18, which was key.
There you go, Kyle Larson talking about getting that good push from Ryan Blaney. But one thing I noticed, and help the viewers understand this, is Kyle Larson, I thought, did a great job not only of getting a good start and not spinning the tires, but side drafting on those restarts to use that to A, hold the car beside him back a little bit, and B, give himself a little momentum. How does that work?
Yep, the outside lane at Michigan has the typical advantage going down into turn 1 because the guy on the outside will tend to side draft and hold the bottom guy not to accelerate. And because you're side drafting on his right rear quarter panel, it loosens him up. And that driver knows that. So he's not going to be barreling off into turn 1 at 2010 like we see on every restart. And he has to actually back that corner up and allows the outside lane to get momentum. But when Kyle Larson, what he was really good at is getting that push and having the momentum, knowing his car was going to be able to stick into 1 and get by and take the lead through the center of 1 and 2.
All right, we've got a big show coming up for you, MRN Motorsports Monday today. Tony Gibson's going to join us, the crew chief for Kurt Busch. They've had some strong runs out in Sonoma where we're going next, and he can kind of give us an update on where things stand from a technical standpoint at this stage of the season. We'll also talk about some Xfinity Series racing from Michigan and some Truck Series racing from Gateway as we get moving on MRN Motorsports Monday. But before we do that, you check this out.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great!
Where will you be when NASCAR comes to Chicago's fastest loop? 4 days of racing, tailgating, camping, and music come to Chicagoland Speedway September 14th through the 17th. Tickets for Sunday Chicagoland 400 are available now. Camping spots are available and selling fast. All kids tickets $25 off adult price and free on certain race days. Get your tickets and campsite now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Chicagoland Speedway, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs start here.
He's won many a battle on restarts on the outside. When he had to do it, he did it on the inside one time this afternoon. And once in front, he's doing what he's doing right now. That is checking out the Target Chevrolet of Kyle Larson. Set sail off turn number 4.
Kyle won here at Michigan last August, his first career Cup win. He backed it up with a victory at the sister track Auto Club earlier this year, and he wins again today in the Firekeepers Casino 400.
Kyle Larson's second win, and second win at Michigan as well. And you heard there Buddy Long and Joe Moore the call with bringing him home. But a race that seemed to be something we were hoping it wasn't. The track made a huge effort to try and drag tires around. I don't know how much of an impact the rain made because you had a couple of showers and some heavier stuff overnight there may have washed some of that off. What did the track look like?
Well, it wasn't your fault.
No, it wasn't. Not this time.
No, and it wasn't my fault.
Really?
Yep, it was the asphalt.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, the asphalt at Michigan is simply too smooth right now, and it's not aging like we've seen other racetracks age. The bottom groove is still significantly the faster way around, and Goodyear has an amazingly difficult job to produce a tire that's going to stand the rigors of a 3,400-pound race car going into the corner with speeds exceeding 200, close to 220 miles an hour. And so Goodyear has a tire that doesn't wear out because they're afraid from a safety standpoint, we can't have our drivers hitting the outside wall.
Putting that much stress on them over and over.
A week or so ago, we saw a tire issue with another manufacturer and another car series where in the middle of the race, because they were having tire problems, they had to go to a comp yellow every 30 laps all of a sudden. A little bit of a debacle like we saw at the Brickyard several years ago when we were running 10 laps at a time. So now Goodyear is on the safe side of things. Kudos to them. But until, this is kind of my off track here, if we want to transition into it.
All right, here we go. Nice segue.
Michigan International Speedway used to be one of the widest tracks we raced on. It exceeded 6 lanes wide, apron all the way to the top of the wall. It's non-existent. We have to get that racetrack wider, and it only has to be the only way we can do it is working tightly with the Michigan Speedway with Tire Dragon and the Goodyear engineers and race teams to be able to get that tire to wear out, but in a safe manner. We've seen this at other racetracks we can do this with. They have the multi-zone tire and different things that we can do technology-wise, but we have to widen out Michigan. Once we have a tire that falls off, then that bottom groove isn't the fastest way around anymore, and that's what allows the track to widen up. But yesterday was a standard, new repaved Michigan-style race. 1.5 grooves tops, and the guy that got out front was simply the better car.
The challenge, though, would seem to be to find that sweet spot, because if you have it wear out and guys are still throwing it into the turns at 215, 220 miles per hour, the give up that you have in the tire might lead to worse problems, and it seems to me that's a very narrow band to try and hit.
Well, 100%, but that's why the track is aware of the issue. If not, they wouldn't have used the tire Dragon, and it's not the Dragon, it's tire dragging, we're dragging it across the ground.
Thanks for clearing that
You're
up.
welcome. But I got to go on TV.
Yes, you did. That's great.
But they're aware of the fact that their speedway is no longer what we've come to see from the past. You know, we've always talked about back in the day, upside down, 4 wide. We used to have that at Michigan. We used to have 4 wide finishes because the cars got such amazing runs with multiple grooves. So they're aware of it. So between that, the Tire Dragon, hopefully we can get Goodyear engineers to move forward on different tires. And heck, who even knows if we can use VHT, which you've seen apply
there was
to Bristol.
some discussion of
yes.
that at one point, but it never happened there. Is it something that could be as effective at the bigger tracks?
We don't know that. That's the thing. We have, at this point in time, we've seen single file racing at Michigan since the new repave to know that something has to be done. So why not try something different?
Well, let me ask you this in terms of segues and making a statement here. In the truck series at Texas last week, we came in thinking, oh, it's going to be repaved, there's going to be single lane, follow the leader, one groove racetrack all night. Somebody forgot to tell the drivers. They put on a heck of a show. There was side-by-side racing at the front for lap after lap after lap. Guys were able to make passes. They have a harder tire, aren't able to generate as much momentum and speed as the Cup cars. Why did that work?
Well, we have to understand now, Texas is a brand new facility essentially from a racetrack standpoint. There's still a lot of unknowns. But when they built that facility, or they repaved it here in the last year or so, they didn't use the same asphalt, not your fault or my fault, the same asphalt as Michigan did. So we're still learning Texas. So what we went into thinking about new repaves at Texas, we now went in a different direction because it's actually racing a lot better than we expected, whether in the trucks or the open wheel series.
All right, there's off track for Joey. On track for me, one of the things I enjoyed over the weekend, we've talked about this from time to time on the show, the one-day show they had at Gateway for the trucks. Practice, qualifying, everything, the race, all in one day. The teams got in a day early, had a night in a hotel, came the next day, got the trucks all ready to rock. One-day show. They combined it with the, I believe it was the ARCA Midwest deal. It was a nice crowd, good ticket. I think that's a way to help save some money. It may not sound all that significant, but if you're trying to put up a full race team, meals and another hotel night, that's going to cost them significantly more money, and we've seen a lot of these teams are operating on a thin margin.
You know, if we were to go to a movie theater or a play or even eat dinner, we wouldn't want to do it over a 2-day period. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. We used to have...
Wait, what?
100% agreement.
What?
100. We'll go 101
Mark
today.
Mark that tape. This has never happened before.
Father's Day, I'll go 101%. But we used to have one-day shows at smaller facilities like Memphis or Richmond, and it put on a great show. The teams can do it. It's just a matter of being able to organize it with the cities, with the racetracks, and with the teams. But I don't think you'd see any argument from the team standpoint being able to go in, get their stuff done, and get out of the track.
All right, there you go. We'll talk a little bit more about the truck race at Gateway as we continue on MRN Motorsports Monday, as well as the Xfinity race at Michigan. But next, we'll talk a little Cup Series racing. Crew Chief's going to join us. Tony Gibson is Kurt Busch's man on the pit box. He'll be back on the other side of the break.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
It's time to start pouring concrete, and the Housby mixer system is ready for the job. The Housby mixer system was created specifically with the driver in mind. All controls and specs are completely customizable to your operations. Our durable, driver-friendly mixer can be mounted on all truck types, and our expert support is second to none. On-site and live phone support is just a phone call away. For more information, visit Housby.com. Housby, an official sponsor of NASCAR for over 40 years.
Hey, Danica Patrick here. When I have friends and guests at the track who want to hear me drop pearls of wisdom during the race, I send them to Racing Electronics.
Yeah, right back there?
I think so. I didn't, other than hitting a car, I didn't hit anything, but there's a tire down or something.
If you aren't listening to all the action live, you're missing out. Don't forget to rent a scanner or fan vision for the races. Go to racingelectronics.com to pre-rent for great discounts on your scanner and fan vision rentals.
1 to go. The white flag is flying at Daytona. Who has enough fuel to get that car back around?
Kurt Busch trying to go to the outside. Blaney looking to go 3 wide up the middle. It's Kurt Busch to the lead on the backstretch.
Busch all by himself at the front of the field, but will he make it back around? 3 car lengths over Kyle Larson and A.J. Allmendinger.
He's never won before at Daytona, a former series champion. He will fix that today, winning a 59th edition of the Great American Race.
Well, that's the way our season started in 2017, and the man on top of the pit box for that victory joins us on the guest line now. He's the crew chief for that number 41 Monster Energy Haas Automation Ford at Stewart Haas Racing, Tony Gibson. Tony, welcome back to the program, man. It seems like a long time since you've been on, but glad to have a little bit of your time. We were just talking about Michigan some yesterday, and Joey is of the opinion that, man, we need to find some way to widen that track out a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, and I appreciate that. And yeah, Joey, I think it's exactly right. I know they drug the tire dragging around there a little bit, and before we got there. But I just don't know that thing really lays the rubber down in the right spots that we need. So I know they're trying to do something, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to they could do every track like Bristol, to give us two definite lanes, to run in to give us some more room. But it used to be that way. Joey can probably tell you, man, we could run right around the rim there and really haul the mail, and it doesn't seem to be that way anymore. So I wish we could get where we could run like that again. It would be a lot of fun to watch, and I know the fans would enjoy it more too. So, but it's one of those things we got to deal with, and to me, I like having options. If your car's really tight on the bottom, you can move up and it frees the car up, and you could run against the fence and make a difference. But now everybody gets tight and so aero dependent that it's just really difficult there. To have the good races like we used to have.
Daytona 500 winning crew chief has a really nice ring to it, but 2017 looked like it started out very easy. But one of your chores was not only creating a new manufactured car, you guys switched manufacturers back into Ford, but we also had to develop the lower downforce. We tend to call it the L2 package lower downforce. What's been more challenging, the manufacturer change or developing the lower downforce for 2017?
Well, it's both been a little difficult, but I think the aero package has hurt us more than anything, because our support from Ford Performance, Ford Motor Company, has been outstanding. The support we get from them and trying to get us up to speed, and they really, they went all out to make sure that we could hit the ground running as quick as we could, and whatever we needed for help, they were there. And so, it was a little bit of a hiccup there as far as us making parts and pieces, because we were with Hendrick Motorsports affiliated, and some of the parts that we were running, that we were getting, last year we would just get from Hendricks, rear-end housings, truck arms, things that just took time to build. And then this year we started all that up ourselves at the company, so we had to create those positions and then create those areas and go through all the weld studies and things that it takes to make those parts. And that took longer than we thought, and it was a little bit harder than we thought. So I think that part of it, was difficult. And we're just now starting to get maybe caught up a little bit. But I would say the aero side of things, Joey, has been our biggest stump there. It's really been finding the balance, at least for Kurt, and our other teammates have struggled too. Just finding that balance that works from track to track to track has been difficult. We've run really good here since Texas. We found a couple things that have helped us, and we went to Kentucky and tested a few weeks back, and we learned some more things, and we applied them, and our cars have been faster. They're not as fast as they need to be. We're not contending for wins yet, but we've had, solid top 10s and top 5 runs here lately, and we're showing progress. But, I just, trying to get a hold of this aero deal has just been a really, really a big struggle, for our company here.
Chatting with Tony Gibson, the crew chief for Kurt Busch on that Monster Energy Haas Automation Ford at Stewart Haas Racing, following a 12th place run at Michigan. And Tony, you guys, as we mentioned, started off with that big win at Daytona to all but lock you into the playoffs. But now you look up and we've got 10 winners and almost half the regular season to go before we make the playoffs. Could this be the year finally where we wind up with 16 or more winners, you think?
I think, I really think so. I think, if you look at the guys who haven't won yet, there's a lot of good teams and drivers who have not won races yet and typically do. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down to the wire of, maybe one guy or, I think it's going to be the one guy gets in on points or one guy gets bumped out with a win. So, it's a little nerve-wracking. Just because you won a race does not lock you in, I don't think. So, we're going every week to win races and get some stage points and try to just, build some momentum, going forward. And, we'll have 4 really good weeks and then we'll stub our toe again. And, we just can't do that. We got to be better all the way around at all these tracks. And, And I really feel like, you know, the only way you're going to be safe is to win 2 races. I think if you win 2 races, you know, you can feel a little more easy. But I don't feel comfortable at all with just 1 win. I think you're right. It's going to come down to either one making it in or one getting bumped out. So, but that's the exciting part of this format, is to build the drama. And you know what? It's great for our sport. You see these young kids coming in here and they're winning races, running up front, and that's what we need. You know, it's a double-edged sword there. You don't want to see those guys beat you and knock you out, but you want to see those guys win and show the fans that there's some new blood coming along that, you know, that they can jump on board and be fans of. So, you know, I'm proud of all those guys, and I think it's good for our sport.
I'm not going to try to make you feel old, but you've been in the sport for in excess of 20, close to 25 years. You've crew chiefed in excess of 15 years, 16 different Cup drivers. But one of the unique things about 2017 is the addition of stage racing. Now, some crew chiefs have put a very big emphasis on them stage points and playoff points versus trying to get a win. Where does your perspective? Are you a stage playoff guy, or are you at the end of the race kind of win guy?
Well, I think the ultimate goal is to win. That carries the most. You know, the win carries the most into the stage deal. You know, to playoffs. So, but you know, it's one of those deals. If you're not in contention to win it, then you know your plan changes to get every point that you can. But you know, I would go for the win over anything. I would not sacrifice, you know, finishing 8th, 9th, or 10th in a segment to jeopardize me being in position to win a race. That's for sure. But it's all important. But you know, I think the stage racing has made it a little more exciting. It makes guys race more throughout the race, knowing that you know there's some points out there and there's a benefit to finishing in the top 10. So you know, I think it. And at the end of the day, it's also nice if. It's also nice if your car's not handling really good, you know that you can make it. You're getting ready to get a caution to work on your stuff. So, but I would take the win over a stage any day. I want to be in position to win the race.
See, old school, a win is a win is a win. That's the way you get it done for sure. Tony, let's look ahead a little bit. Heading off to Sonoma this week. You guys had a top 10 there a year ago, a big day for your company as Tony Stewart won in his last season. And then the year before that, a strong second-place run. Is Kurt Busch an underrated road course racer, you think?
Yeah, I really do. He runs extremely well at the road races, and we didn't quite perform as good last year as we did the year before. You know, the tire changed a little bit. Racetrack was a little bit warmer, and it was really, really slick. And we went back with the same car, same setup, and everything, and we were struggling there to finish 10th. So. You know, we've been working on. We've all built new cars, going back out there, and kind of a new you know, our plan going out there is a little different than it was last year. Some of the things we have in our playbook are different. It is the same tire we ran last year, so we got to regroup, and we all need to be a little better out there. So, but we know that we got the driver who can definitely win. You know, we were extremely fast there year before last, and we let one get away from us there at the very end. But last year we did struggle, so we got to make sure this aero balance, it's going to be even freer. And I know it's a road course and you think it doesn't matter, but aero matters everywhere you go. And I feel like the entry stuff is going to be freer, especially to these fast left-handers you got coming down the hill. That's where the downforce is going to play. So we've looked towards the aero side of things going back, make sure that we've got as much downforce on these things as we can get. And then we got to try to work on the mechanical grip for the forward drive. Joey will tell you it's getting off these corners that you're running 30 miles an hour and you're trying to accelerate to 120. You just burn the tires off of it, and then they're a handful.
Yeah, that's definitely something that'll make you scratch your head as you watch the race at Sonoma, and keep in mind how much different it is from Watkins Glen when we head that way a little bit later on in the season. Well, Tony, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the strong start to the season. You guys have one. Think you need one more, maybe with 10 different winners, and we'll look forward to catching up with you out in Sonoma.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Pleasure as always, and want to give a shout out to all the men and women in the armed forces who protect our country every day. If it wasn't for them, none of us would have the leisure to do what we do. So let's all salute those folks and say a prayer for them.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time, Tony. Thanks a lot.
Good job, man.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
There you go, and there you hear it. We haven't had that yet. I was interested in his thoughts that the one win may not be safe. It may not be enough to guarantee you a playoff spot like we've had up to now.
With the 3 young stars that have won, with Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse, and Ryan Blaney, we don't have a Kyle Busch win yet. We don't have a Denny Hamlin win. We don't have a Kevin Harvick. We could have the possibility with enough races left, and those guys can be good. We could exceed for the first time since this playoff system started.
Yeah, and A.J. Allmendinger could easily win a road course race.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We could easily see more than 16 winners. And poof, and some guys have been mistakenly say it, in your win. Win and you're in.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. And that's may not be the case. It's still about points. So don't let it kid you. But now we go to Sonoma, where it's one of the tougher.
There you go. Come on, man. Get to the finish line. We can do it. You got 2 words of the day so far.
Tougher tracks of the year, and we'll see who comes out on top.
All right. One more quick break here on Motorsports Monday. We'll take a look at some Xfinity racing and some truck racing from over the weekend as we head to Sonoma and Iowa this weekend.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
One bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Are you in the concrete, construction, or waste industry? Are repair bills starting to pile up as your current mixer, dump, or waste truck starts to show its age? Before you make that plunge, consider an alternative to buying new. The Housby 2G second generation program is the complete refurbishment of your existing used trucks without the hefty price tag that comes with it. Extend the life of your current trucks today and give yourself an economic alternative to that new truck price. For more information, visit Housby.com. Housby, an official sponsor of NASCAR for over 40 years.
Up the track goes Byron. The bottom is open. Here comes Hamlin. They're side by side to the back straightaway. Drag race is on. Make it 3 wide. Here comes Elliott Sadler to the outside. He's trying to gain a position. Falls back in line. Denny Hamlin down to the inside. Sadler goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Byron to the high side. Byron leads him off turn 4.
It's Denny Hamlin down to the inside. Way to the grass. Denny Hamlin by a half a car length wins the Irish Hills 250.
That's how it sounded from Michigan on Saturday. Dave Moody, Buddy Long, and Steve Post on the call in that Xfinity Series race. And it's weird to be in a situation where you think, oh yeah, Denny Hamlin won, and he doesn't get most of the attention. The winner usually gets most of the attention, but William Byron's race, that second place finish was thrilling and had social media abuzz. A lot of fans were talking more about William Byron than Denny Hamlin after the race.
2 of the top 4 junior motorsports cars, 3 of their cars are first, second, and third in the points. But what drew so much attention was what gets so much attention in negative light most of the time. Cup guys ruining the sport. It's going to kill it. The problem is we didn't realize that William Byron was racing his guts out and how good of a job he did against Cup drivers. Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Elliott Sadler, a former Cup driver.
Kyle Busch was in this one.
All 4 of those guys in the top 5. You had 3 Cup drivers, 2 Xfinity regulars, and William Byron drove a superb race. Yes, he finished second, but it's how he finished second and who he finished second with. That's why we utilize Cup drivers in the Xfinity Series. It's to base your judgment, base your performance on nothing but the best. I get it. It's an argument we could have forever. There's no right and wrong. But his second place finish at Michigan was superb.
Not likely to see many Cup faces in Iowa this weekend where the Xfinity Series will roll. Also, the Truck Series will head to Iowa as well. They had a great race at Gateway. We talked a little bit about it earlier, and what a huge emotional win for John Hunter Nemechek and that team, working on a shoestring, trying to get through the season with enough sponsorship. A win at this point was just, it's like a Hollywood script for them.
Talk about strategies. We had guys that took gas only. We had guys that took 4 tires, restarted 13th, drove back to 2nd. We had guys that took 2 tires with Hunter Nemechek and Christopher Bell. What an amazing race for those guys. Shoestring budget, 8 guys in the shop. Father's Day weekend, he got out of the car, was flooded with emotion from John Hunter, and that's what we love to see from these young stars. To see the father sitting on top of the box watching his son drive his guts out to a victory.
Shows you how much they want it and how much it means to them for sure. It's a big week on MRN Radio coming up on Tuesday night. We've got NASCAR Live. We'll likely have the winner from the race over the weekend at Michigan. We'll have the Iowa race, the Iowa truck race, and the Xfinity race this weekend as well. Our friends at PRN will have the race at Sonoma, the road course race there, heading out for news. For Joey Meier, I'm Woody Cain and our entire crew saying we'll see you right back here again with video next Monday.
MRN Motorsports Monday is presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in every Monday for another exciting episode right here on MRN.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network.